fiction. Okay.
I got a little poem I've been working on at home, and I guess I'm mainly into the fiction. And I've got, oddly enough, just to go offside, I pulled out something the other day that I had written 40 years ago. And
Oh,
I had
wow.
my first husband.
Yeah.
And I mean, a gazillion things wrong with it. But what blew me away is how much energy there was in it. And it just kept traipsing along.
How wonderful to meet yourself.
Yeah. it was
Again,
like,
after
I
40
know,
years.
but it was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you're not questioning the fact that everybody's slaying? You know, there's all these things that are going on.
Wonderful.
But it was good. So, fiction, a little bit of this and that.
So are you writing any short stories or longer pieces?
Well, this one that I've done, which is about 140 pages or something. No, I haven't written anything long, because I can't seem to, I would probably need to put out a map and map it out, if that's the way I would do it. And
Okay.
it's a time issue too. It's money.
Always, always. And what are you writing now or would like to write?
A newsletter and,
Good.
and a report about my trip,
With your, what, sorry?
my recent trip to Egypt.
Oh, okay, so travel.
Yeah,
So travel writing. Now, when you say travel writing, are you talking about short pieces or like a whole memoir size? Large
Short.
book size?
No, just short.
Just short. Okay, good. So you're writing nonfiction. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mind you, if anybody's been on a trip anywhere, it's hard to actually say that everything that you remember is completely nonfiction, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. And how about you?
I'm halfway through a novel right now.
Okay, so another novel.
I've written short fiction and newspaper articles
Okay.
and promotional writing.
So you've done some short stories.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about you?
Poetry right now, and I've had articles, academic articles published in the past, and
Okay.
some of these articles about events published in the past, whatever category that is.
I'm sorry, about what events?
Events, so maybe it's under travel as well, I guess.
Okay, so they're sort of event.
They were long
Focus.
events, they happened all over the Lower Mainland. They were published in Australia, New Zealand,
Okay,
international.
okay. So it's like event reporting.
Yeah.
Yes? Is that fair? Okay, good. And so that would be nonfiction. Great. And how about you?
I'm currently writing some literature or film review, and I would like to write a short story novel.
So short stories and a novel?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so short stories fiction or nonfiction?
fiction.
Fiction, okay. So we've got short stories, we've got fiction, we've already got nonfiction and novel. Thanks. How about you?
I really like to write children's stories, so fiction,
Well, not necessarily fiction.
yeah. Yeah,
But anybody who's raised children, the whole thing just seems fiction.
yeah.
Doesn't it? It's one big fiction. Yeah, so now are these like short stories or?
Short. Yeah, they're picture book kind of stories.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we'll call those picture books. So do you want to tell everybody what a picture book is?
Book that has illustrations linked to each page.
Yeah. So each page has got an illustration and a very small amount of text. So how much text do you usually have? 2 or 3 sentences or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Good, okay. And so that's what they call kid lit. There you go. And how about you?
I'm working on poetry right now. I've got a novel, fiction novel started, but it's kind of in the back burner right now.
Okay, yeah. So lots of poetry going on here, which is amazing. I mean, those of us who've been in the writing and publishing world for a while, if you can imagine in the Lower Mainland 10 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, but 10 years ago, you couldn't find a place to publish your poetry or even read your poetry in open mic to save your life. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, there's no way. And certainly nobody was publishing it. But this renaissance of poetry in the Lower Mainland is phenomenal. I mean, I would go so far to say it's like a tsunami.
Yeah, I know.
And if anything, the balance is tipping, I would say, away from nonfiction prose and fiction prose to poetry. It's amazing. Everywhere you turn now, there's new poetry groups, new poetry events, new poetry societies. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So again, I mean, for those of us who grew up in Vancouver, we remember that time, especially if you had to live off 4th Avenue. But then it just kind of all faded away because it was uncool to write poetry because everybody got busy going to discos and not writing poetry. Yeah. And so this wave has turned the other way, and there's an enormous amount of interest in poetry and poetics, as they say. So if you're writing poetry and you are not already part of a poetry society or a poetry group or regularly reading your poetry in open mics and sharing with other poets, there's so much opportunity for you to do that. So you're not alone. There's a big, big poetry tribe out there, for sure. And certainly the Royal City Literary Arts Society, which I'm actually a board advisor to the Royal City Literary Arts Society, has an enormous poetry component to it. So you don't have to go and sit up in an attic all by yourself in the freezing with a little candle anymore. You can, as I say, come out of the cave and into the village. What about you?
I've done some personal stuff about the way I feel. I talk about love. There's one or two short poems I think I did really well.
So are you journaling? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and I'm doing creative stuff. Like what I'm doing is, you should put yourself in the story, but I am. But what I'm doing around the story is, I'm adding characters
Cool.
to the story.
So you're doing short stories as well? Okay, do we have short stories here? Yes, we do. Great, thank you. And yeah, just to stop for 1 second, you don't stay out of the story in every kind of writing, just some kind of writing. There's lots of writing where you're very much a part of the story. Yeah, how about you?
I used to write a lot of short stories and...
Fiction or nonfiction?
Little both,
Okay,
mostly nonfiction.
okay.
But now I'm a treasure hunter, writing a WordPress blog about the hunt
Thank you.
and preparing the book to go with the hope for success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the book is nonfiction?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So we're not talking about a novel, we're talking here about a nonfiction book. Okay. Great. And yourself?
I finished a novel, literary novel for middle grade readers, and
And you want to tell the group what a mid-grade reader would be?
they're 8 to 11-year-olds.
8 to 11.
And
Great.
not pictures.
Okay. Great. And so, so as the word says mid-grade, we're literally meaning mid-grades.
Yeah, grade 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. And is it a novel? Yeah. Good. Okay. Good. Everybody okay? Anybody got anything to add? All right. So let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of stories there are, because we've got a lot of different types of application, different kinds of writing. But typically, you're breaking it up into the first kind of breakout is it fiction or is it nonfiction? Yeah. That's the first kind of decision. That's the first kind of thought. But the thing is that when I was talking about even journalism, we used to be, in the front page here, I call journalism is now literary's love child. Because it's kind of like, if hardcore journalism of, say the 1940s and 50s, had a love child with what they call purple prose. Anybody have an idea what purple prose is? It's kind of like that great Victorian, long, descriptive, sort of bounding, Heathcliff bounding across the moors kind of stuff. So if those two entities came together and had a love child, it would be called contemporary journalism. And the reason for that is because it wants to be everything to all people. That's quite something, isn't it? So that's why they call it, now have you ever heard of something called creative nonfiction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, how would you describe creative nonfiction?
I would describe it as fictional, like nonfiction, something that you've experienced or something that has to do with...
So factual?
Yeah, factual.
Yeah.
A lot of descriptive words, not like words that really make it pop off the page.
So creative nonfiction.
Yeah.